Hi guys, I'm Will. I'm an ESL teacher in Thailand, and in this video I'm going to share with you 12 excellent tips for teaching in Thailand. Okay, so you've decided to make the big bold move to Thailand and you've decided to become an ESL teacher. Well, first of all, good on you. I have spent 3 years here as an ESL teacher and I thoroughly enjoy it. Here are the 12 tips. I hope it helps you enjoy your time in Thailand. So my number one tip is please understand exactly what you are getting yourself into. First of all, being a teacher in Thailand is a very highly regarded and well respected role. Generally your students will look up to you and hold a high regard for you as a teacher. So bear this in mind. You must act and behave responsibly and professionally at all times. So you are now here teaching in Thailand, in paradise, but this doesn't mean you're actually here for a holiday. You are here to work and you should definitely treat it as if you were in a job back home. There are times when the job is demanding. Schools and the parents have high expectations of their foreign teachers. Generally, we're paid a lot more than the Thai teachers, and with that comes high expectations. You'll find that quite a lot of the students have no interest in learning English, or maybe they're simply bored of it. So that's your job to try and motivate them again and get them excited to learn English again. Remember, your responsibility as a teacher is to educate and inspire and shape the young minds of your students. Like in any other country, to be a successful teacher you need drive, passion and commitment. If you come here thinking you just go and have just having a working holiday, please think about your students. If you are not prepared to work hard for your students, the students are probably better off without you. So tip number 2, read your contract carefully. Ensure you have a version in Thai and a version in English. If you have any Thai friends, or if you can find a translator, I highly suggest that you get your friend to read the Thai and make sure the English version is a good translation of the Thai version. If for whatever reason you end up in court for some sort of penalty, it's the Thai version that will be looked at, and the English version that you might understand will be irrelevant. So again, from reading your contract, make sure you understand exactly what your school expects from you. Some schools require teachers to do a few Saturdays of work or even unpaid summer camps after the academic year. In my school, they ask us teachers to help with competitions, whether it being the local competitions against other schools in the province or even a national competition. So we had to give up some of our free time to do that. One of my colleagues actually went to another province on a weekend in order to help the students with one particular competition. You may have other responsibilities as well, such as doing gate duty, which is coming to school a bit earlier in the mornings and welcoming the students. I've only had to do this in my first school. It's pretty horrendous, to be honest. I hated it. But again, just make sure you are fully aware of all the expectations the schools have of you. And again, you only get this by reading your contract. If it's not in your contract, ask the questions. Tip number 3, I would highly suggest you avoid any agencies. Typically, I've heard, since I've been here for 3 years, going from my own experience and experiences from others, generally most people have relatively negative experiences with agencies here. Only a couple of people I know actually have a positive experience with an agency. Of course, there are pros and cons to it, so that'd be for you to find out and discover yourself and for you to make the decision. Generally though, agencies pay less than if you were employed directly by the school. For example, my current school, I'm on 35,000, and I know other people who work for an agency are on 32,000. So it's only a fraction less, but I'm here for the money and that's what I want. Also, many agencies only pay a 10-month contract rather than 12 months. So for the summer periods, normally March and April, for an agency you'll be unpaid for those months. Whereas if you go directly through a school, you're normally paid. Some schools may pay a bit less. For example, I get a bit over half pay for those months, but it's better than nothing. I'm still being paid and I won't be at work. However, despite this, I would say that if it's your first teaching job in Thailand, agencies could be a good idea if you're coming alone, just to have that support group, and so you don't feel so lonely in the whole process, because it can be a long and stressful experience if you are doing it alone and if you have no friends who can help you out. So my first job, actually, I came with an agency. I did my TESOL course through them in Bangkok, and they also gave me a placement in my first school. Actually, my first school placement was one of the best times I've had in Thailand. I had a great 6 months living in the rural part of Thailand, which, to be honest, I'd never heard of, and I probably would never have heard of it if I went directly myself through the schools. It's somewhere I probably would never have found. Also, I did have a great group of friends through this agency, through the TESOL course. There were a group of 30 of us that instantly bonded, and it meant I had 30 friends around Thailand as soon as I landed, which was really great, and we had a good support group through those guys. So yeah, that could be definitely one positive for going with an agency. You make friends much quicker. Personally though, I would never go through agencies again. My particular experience, I had quite a negative one. I was actually ended up working without a work permit for quite a while, which is illegal in Thailand. So I could have got into trouble there, if I was ever found out and deported and fined or what have you. Also, the agency paid late over 2 or 3 months and gave us ridiculous reasons, and sometimes didn't give a reason. They just paid us very late. I mean 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks late. Also, agencies, another reason I don't like about them is that they will always try and find a reason to deduct money from you. Some agencies might only offer a certain amount of sick days. Being a teacher, you're going to get sick more often, typically because you're with kids all day long. These kids are getting sick all the time, and they're spreading their germs to you and their other friends. I get sick 3-4 times more often than I would if I wasn't a teacher. So sometimes, yeah, you need those sick days, and a lot of agencies will deduct money for those sick days if you do over a certain point. Currently, my school now, they don't do that. If we're sick, and our other teachers cover us, and we will cover them when they're sick, and we work much better as a team in that way. But yeah, again, like I said at the start, it's completely your choice if you choose to go with an agency or not. Again, I'd recommend avoid an agency unless it's your first time in Thailand and you're coming here completely alone. Then agency could be the right choice for you as a temporary measure. Tip number 4 is to plan. Plan all your lessons accordingly. Students certainly appreciate a teacher that plans their lessons, and I think from my own experience, from other teachers I've seen, I think it's generally quite obvious when a teacher tries to wing a lesson and it doesn't look professional. Your job is to educate the students, so to do that effectively and efficiently, you must plan, of course. There are many aspects to consider when you are doing your lesson plans. Student ages, student abilities, class sizes. That is one challenge in Thailand I can tell you about. Generally speaking, you have quite big classes. I have an average right now of 45 students. And it's not so much the class size which is the issue. The issue for me is you have a complete spectrum of English abilities. You have some students who can speak really well and close to fluent. Then you have other students that just don't speak a word. I could ask, what is your name? And they will struggle even to answer this. So coming up with lesson plans in order to include everyone, it can be really challenging and very difficult. So that's something to definitely bear in mind. Also, I must say, actually, from my own experience, that a lot of Thai students really enjoy studying with foreign teachers, purely because we have a very different and unique style compared to Thai teachers. Thai teachers generally like to, from what I've seen, they like to do the sort of copy method. They might put something on a PowerPoint and just ask the students to read it, copy it, and repeat it, and that's it. Whereas foreign teachers generally like to involve more critical thinking and more thinking outside of the box and seeing the bigger picture to the students. And a lot of the students really engage with this and really enjoy it. Right now I'm doing an activity where my students are making movies about how to survive in the jungle, and at the moment they're all really enjoying it, and they're really enjoying the whole concept of, they have complete freedom to make what they want, and they're making a movie out of this, and so you can see the results once they've made the movie. And so far the activity is going really well. So again, plan your lessons. It helps you manage your time better, it helps you really educate, and it makes teaching more enjoyable. When you have a set lesson plan, when you know what you're doing, you go into the class, you're feeling confident, you feel great, you know what you're doing, and the kids will ultimately enjoy it much more. Tip number 5, always have a backup plan. Generally my backup plans involve games. There's a couple of games I play, categories or bingo or anything like that, or Jeopardy. I normally have it on a USB, or I know how to put it on the board and project it through that way. There are occasions when you might be relying on technology, let's say. For example, in my experience, I've had lessons where I want to do a listening exercise, and for some reason technology fails me and I'm completely stuck. What do I do next? I can't do anything I planned. So that at this point I'd normally use my backup plan, and it still ends up being a productive lesson and the kids still get to learn. And it's better than me just standing in the front trying to think of what to do next. So tip number 6, don't stick to the textbook. By all means, I would say use the textbook as a topic guide, which is excellent, and you can certainly use the textbook for homeworks or some classwork activities. Generally Thai students really enjoy group work and competitions and games, so try and incorporate those into your topic as activities. For example, I like to do a lot of drama or teamwork or races, or with more advanced students you can do debates. All these different exercises are exercises that typically the Thai English teachers don't incorporate into their classes. So by doing this, you're naturally engaging them a bit more, hopefully. So yeah, I generally create my own lessons based on my textbook. However, of course, you do have to customize your assignments and your classroom activities, and it all completely depends on your students' ability. So tip number 7 is get to know your fellow teachers. Of course, the foreign staff and also the Thai staff. Now, getting to know the Thai staff could be a bit difficult if you're new to the country and maybe you don't speak any Thai or you're not aware of the Thai customs. But by making an effort with the Thai teachers, it goes a very long way. Generally, they'll be very happy to help you at all times. And also, if you build a good relationship with them, they'll take really good care of you. Furthermore, if you have a good relationship with all your teachers, your workplace becomes a lot more enjoyable, and being in the office is a lot more fun and time goes faster. I'm very lucky, I have a pretty good office. We get along very well with the Thai teachers and the foreign teachers, and yeah, generally it's a positive environment to be in and we all enjoy it, which is good. It's very important. Also, you always need those people that you can rant to. I think nearly all teachers have those terrible days and those terrible lessons, and you have those days when the students are just extra naughty and you just need to get it off your chest at times and just have a really good rant. You have a good relationship with your teachers, they'll listen to your rant and probably join in as well. So tip number 8 is do not be afraid to ask questions. Generally in Thailand and actually a lot of Asia, there's normally a huge lack of communication between people. Certainly in my school and other schools I've worked in Thailand and China, generally the foreign teachers are the last ones to know anything. If there's an event, we might learn about it the day before if we're lucky. A lot of the times your classes will be cancelled and actually you'll never be told. You'll just go to class as normal and your students will never turn up. And maybe you'll find out why after the class, and that's it. So again, you have to be just really adaptable and really flexible. It's just part of the job. The way I see it, if your lesson is cancelled for whatever reason, I see it as a win. You're getting paid at the end of the day, so that's it. But yeah, so don't be surprised to learn about days off or holidays or exam weeks a couple of days prior to it actually happening. Just be prepared, that's all I can say. So again, if you ask questions that they will probably know when you do ask the question, and they can probably give you an answer. For example, I asked when I'm going home for a holiday back to my home in Spain, and I asked when the holidays will be, and I think if I hadn't asked this I probably wouldn't know even now, and the holidays are in about 3 weeks. So I asked well in advance and I was given a good answer so I could book my flights. So again, if you don't ask, they'll probably never tell you, so just ask. Tip number 9 is, I would say, don't be so hard on the students. I think it can be quite difficult for some of the students here. First of all, of course, learning a foreign language is difficult, as most of you probably know. I imagine we've all studied foreign languages at one point in our lives. Secondly, bear in mind a lot of their teachers of English may not speak English themselves very well, and they've probably had gone through a lot of Western teachers as well that have just stuck around for a couple of months and then gone. So there's no real stability in their English learning regards to the foreign teachers, as the Western teachers normally come and go. Also, classes often have a real huge range of English abilities. Like I mentioned earlier, you might have some students who can speak fluently and understand most things you say for speaking at a normal speed, and you might have other students that understand absolutely nothing. So there's something to think about. So again, I would say keep expectations quite low of the students and just encourage them. Always appraise the students who are working hard, even if they're not great, but if they're working hard and trying to improve themselves, definitely give them some positive feedback, and it goes a really long way. Tip number 10 is prepare the tests. So as a teacher here, you are normally expected to do the tests. There's not really any standardized tests in Thailand, and there's no real public exams. All the schools make up and create their own tests. And as the foreign teacher, we are responsible for making our own tests. Most schools have their own exam structure and exam format, which is a question you would have to ask your department head or whatever, or whoever's in charge, because it's unlikely they'll probably tell you how to do that. So you have to ask that question. Another thing you could definitely think about is asking when these exams are. So actually just last week we were told our exams need to be finished sooner than originally told, by 1 week. And again, it's just one of those things that happens in Thailand. Even the exam weeks change. And finally, tip number 11, this is more of a positive one. Enjoy your experience. Teaching in Thailand is a really great experience. The students are incredible and have a lot of respect for teachers here. And generally the classroom management is much easier. When I taught in China before, the Chinese students I worked with were quite a handful, generally speaking. And honestly, comparing the students I have now and the Chinese ones originally, it's like night and day. And Thai students are really great to work with. And of course, teaching itself as a profession, in my opinion, is a really richly rewarding job. Being able to, hang out and socialise with students every day, all day long, is really great. Watching them develop, as individuals and academically, is really thoroughly rewarding. And you may not think you're impacting their lives very much, or particularly changing them, but I think actually you'd be very surprised at how many lives you are affecting if you are, that professional teacher who's planning and everything. Then you'll be really surprised at how much you are encouraging these students to continue learning English. So for me, helping these students and encouraging them to learn again and re-motivating them, for me, is the reason why I love teaching in particular. If I have a bad day, I just think, well, you know what, I'm in Thailand, I'm in paradise. There's not a beach so far away from me. So that's it. If you have a bad day, just think about what else is out there, things you can do in the weekend in Thailand. There's so many opportunities here. So those were my 12 tips about teaching in Thailand. I hope they help you become more successful teachers. If you are a teacher now and you'd like to share some more tips, please feel free to give a comment down below. And if I have that many comments, I can definitely do a second video introducing your own comments and introducing your own tips. So those are my 12 tips for teaching in Thailand. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helps you become a better teacher in Thailand, and I hope it actually sheds some light about the life of a ESL teacher in Thailand. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, it helps a lot, and feel free to subscribe for much more content. I do lots of travel videos as well, and there'll be more content about teaching in Thailand. Thanks a lot, guys. See you again.